U.S. pulls out of formal peace talks between Ukraine and Russia.
Vietnam's party chief to visit Russia in May.
Homestay business booms in Nghệ An.
Hello, so good to see you again in today's news. I'm Nguyen, and here we go, the first step of the show. After months of failed diplomatic efforts, the U.S. has announced a significant change in its approach to the protracted Russia-Ukraine conflict. Specifically, Washington will no longer act a mediator in the peace negotiations between Ukraine and Russia anymore.
The announcement, made by the U.S. State Department, reflects the Trump administration's growing frustration with the current stalemate. The change comes after months of increased U.S. diplomatic efforts, including negotiating proposals for a 30-day ceasefire and a partial ceasefire to prevent attacks on civilian energy infrastructure. The U.S. even held talks with Russian officials in Saudi Arabia, a move that has caused no small amount of concern for Ukraine and its European allies, who fear being left out of the peace process. However, all of Washington's efforts seem to be met with delays or rejections from the parties involved. Meanwhile, the conflict between Russia and Ukraine continues to develop complicatedly, exacerbating the situation.
In a move that is expected to escalate the conflict in Gaza, on May 2nd, Israel's Security Cabinet disapproved plans for an expanded operation in the Gaza Strip in the coming period.
The decision to expand combat operations in Gaza was approved during a special security consultation chaired by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu last night. According to Hebrew sources, with this combat plan, the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, will mobilize several reserve brigades with a total strength of tens of thousands of soldiers. However, the expanded combat plan will still be limited in nature and will not include the occupation of large areas in the Gaza Strip. The Israeli government is expected to hold a meeting on May 4th to approve the plan.
The General Secretary of Communist Party of Vietnam Central Committee Tô Lâm, accompanied by his spouse and a high-ranking Vietnamese delegation, will pay an official visit to Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, Belarus and Russia to attend the 80th anniversary celebration of Victory Day in Great Patriotic War from May 5th to 12th.
This is Vietnam's party chief's first official visit to the Russian Federation in his capacity as General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Vietnam. The visit aims to continue to affirm the strategic importance of the traditional friendship and comprehensive strategic partnership between Vietnam and Russia, considering this one of the top priorities in Vietnam's foreign policy. This is also the first state visit to Kazakhstan by a Vietnam's party chief leader in 13 years and the first time a Vietnamese general secretary has visited this Central Asian country. For Azerbaijan, this is the first time the country has welcomed a general secretary-level leader of Vietnam since the two countries established diplomatic relations in 1992. This is also the highest-level visit between the two countries in the past 10 years.
Upcoming are some updated news.
On the evening of May 2nd, at Vinh International Airport, Military Region 4 held a ceremony to welcome officers and soldiers who have completed their parade and marching missions to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the liberation of the South and the reunification of the country. After many days of participating in the event, more than 400 officers, soldiers, and militiamen from 6 provinces of Military Region 4 returned to their units. Welcoming the delegation at Vinh International Airport, in addition to the units and functional forces, there were also a large number of union members, youth, and many people. This is a force that has persistently trained, overcome difficulties, and successfully completed its mission, creating a heroic and solemn atmosphere, demonstrating the strength of the Vietnam People's Army.
The 2025 United Nations Day of Vessi will be held from May 6 to 8 at the Vietnam Buddhist Academy in Ho Chi Minh City. With the main theme, solidarity and tolerance for human dignity, Buddhist wisdom for world peace and sustainable development. This year's event will be attended by about 1.300 international delegates from 85 countries and territories and about 1.500 domestic delegates. Within the framework of the event, activities will be held to honor and worship the relics of Buddha Shakyamuni at Thon Tam Pagoda from May 2nd to 8. Honor and worship the heart relics of Bodhisattva Thich Quang Duc at Vietnam National Pagoda from May 3rd to 10. This is an opportunity to introduce the image of the country and people of Vietnam as peace-loving, friendly, united and harmonious.
Vietnam is one of the most popular foreign destinations for Russian tourists in the summer of 2025. With current plans for direct flights between the two countries and an increase in the number of Russians booking foreign tours, Vietnam could welcome about 430,000 Russian tourists in 2025, which is almost double compared to 2024. According to Russian travel agencies, tours for the spring-summer season of 2025 are booked by more Russians than in the same period last year. In Russia, the number of advance bookings for destinations in Asia is increasing, especially in Vietnam, China and Japan. Representatives of the Russian Association of Travel Agencies believe that Vietnam will be among the top 5 new popular foreign destinations on the Russian market.
During holidays, most families usually opt for hotels as their accommodation. However, in recent years, a relatively new and interesting type of lodging, the homestay, has emerged. And in Nghe An province, there are not many homestay models contributing to an enhanced experience for tourists.
In recent years, the homestay model is becoming a popular business trend, especially in localities with tourism potential. Not only bringing a close and unique experience to tourists, homestay also opens up economic development opportunities for many households. The demand for experiential tourism, returning to nature and local culture, is increasing, especially from young people and international tourists.
We often travel during holidays. We have been to many places and often choose coastal areas. I find that staying in hotels and staying in homestays are similar.
In Nguyen, homestay prices also change according to the season. In winter, when the number of tourists drops sharply, especially in coastal areas such as Kua Lo and Kua Hoi, homestay room prices are often quite soft, ranging from 400.000 to 600 Vietnamese dongs per night. However, entering the summer, the peak tourist season, especially from May to August, homestay prices increase sharply, commonly ranging from 900.000 to 1.200.000 Vietnamese dongs per night. Depending on location and service quality, homestays near the beach or the center of Kua Lo often have higher prices, especially on weekends and major holidays.
As living standards improve, tourists, especially young people, want to experience different services to provide their families with open and airy spaces.
Homestays today are no longer limited to traditional houses, but are increasingly diverse in style, from ethnic stilt houses to modern, uniquely designed homestays that suit the check-in trend of young people. Besides the potential, there are also many difficulties and shortcomings, from management issues, lack of service skills, to increasingly fierce competition and more stringent requirements from tourists. In addition, there are not many formal training models on homestay management.
A common challenge for homestays is the lack of guests during the winter. Since there are very few visitors in coastal areas at that time, we are also looking for ways to overcome this.
The diversity of accommodation types not only helps tourists have more suitable options, but also creates a unique attraction for Nguyen tourism, opening up opportunities for sustainable development for the local tourism industry.
the last story to end our show today. Thank you so much for your attention. Goodbye and see you later.